Hey everyone, thanks for trying to learn to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be playing through a brand new game I just got, which is Warcrow Adventures. This is the latest game from Belli. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes roughly 1 to 2 hours to play, and it's a fully cooperative game where all the players are working together to complete whichever scenario they've chosen to go on. Now this one is an app-driven game, so you will need to download an app that is free that is going to control the setup of the different scenarios and tell you where to place different tiles. It's also going to keep track of the enemies, and it's going to give you the story and what's going on as you explore the different stages and choices you'll have to make and tests you'll have to do. With that, if you've played games like Mansions of Madness, this app has a very similar feel to something like that. So if you've played that and you're familiar with it, this will give you an idea of what to expect with this. So other than that, with Warcrow Adventures, this one does pull from some of their other systems. So if you're familiar with Warcrow, the scrimmage game, it does use some of the mechanics within that as well, such as the dice and some of the combat things. So if you've played that system, you are going to have a pretty good jump on this one, as there are some similarities with those systems. And if you enjoy that, you definitely should check this one out as well. So with that, I am going to be playing through the very first intro scenario for one of the different missions, and I'm going to show you all the different things within that and hopefully give you a better idea how this one plays. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see anything more around this one, or if you caught if I did anything wrong. I am just human, I do make mistakes, and I love hearing from you in those comments down below. As always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of these ways you can support channels like mine so we continue to grow, build, to produce this content. If you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also hit that notification bell, as I'm constantly dropping new videos such as playthrough videos, crowdfunding, Kickstarter, GameFound videos, teaching videos, and many others. So let's go ahead and head to the table, and we'll see how this one plays. Alright, so before moving in the game, I have selected the 3 different characters I'm going to be using for this, which is the Elf Ranger, the Orc Warrior, and the Dwarf Cleric Fighter. And each one of them has its own unique ability that'll have 3 tokens that you'll be able to use throughout the game. And these tokens are going to have a variety of different uses based on each one of the characters. So for example, with my Dwarf, I have Taunted, and taunted enemies must downgrade all of their attack rolls. And you can only place 1 of these tokens on per enemy. With the Orc Warrior, I have Rage, and this one, if you have at least 1 Rage token on you, you are immune to the slowed state, and you can substitute 1 of your dice for your defense to a yellow die. And then with the Elf Archer, I have the Hunter's Mark. Your rolls against targets with the Hunter's Mark gain the switch, which lets you spend 2 exploration symbols to add a success to your roll. So it can make him a little more damage dealy depending upon how things go. And again, there's other uses for those tokens as well that the characters can have and do different things. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move into a brand new campaign. So with this one, I'm going to be playing through the Shadows of the Mist, and this gives you a little bit of background about what's going on with that. And then let's go ahead and move in. So let's go ahead and start a new one, and we'll name this Learn to Play Games. All right, and we'll start this off. And we have the prologue. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip through this. I'll let you kind of experience that for yourselves. And this is going to give you the backstory of what is going on, what your adventures are doing, and what is happening in this. So from here, we are going to select our party. So depending upon which games you have, you might have more characters here, and there's a collections screen that you can go to add the different expansions to your game, or if you've gotten the Kickstarter or anything else where there's other characters. For my game, I just have the core game, so I'm going to have my 5 characters available for this game. And then from there, again, for this mission, I'm choosing my party. So again, I have the Dwarf, the Elf, and the Orc. From here, it's going to tell us which all the different equipment that we're going to have and any ability cards or anything. And I've already gathered all of this for my 3 characters. So I'm going to save and continue. All right, so from here, it's the mission, or the mission that I'm on is Missing. So, and then you have the story for this as well, which I am not going to go through at this point. The basic gist of it, though, is that you're looking for Company 21. It has gone missing, and you have been hired by the ambassador of Hawthorne Point to find out what is going on with this, or what happens at this company. All right, so from here, it's going to move into setup. So it's going to tell us which tiles I'm going to need to pull. So I have tile 101. All right, so that one will be set out there. And then next is tile 301. All right, so place that one. And then I'm going to have an interaction token. It's up here. And an exploration token that I'll place here. And then it's going to show our starting spots. So each of the characters will be placed in that starting zone. So I'm going to go ahead and place these guys as such. And then I'm going to proceed on. So the objective is to find the trail of Company 21 and discover what happened to them. There is an abnormal silence in the forest. This is not a good sign. So from here, it's going to start me off with a test. So this is an action, and it's a combined test, which is a perception check or test. So with this one, the rulebook doesn't classify or clarify what a combined test is. So the consensus on the different forums is that each of the characters are going to perform this test, and you'll total up the results, and that is what the overall test is going to be. So it is going to be a perception check. So with the elf, he has a pretty good perception at 2 orange and a yellow. All right, so he got 2 stars, so that's 2 successes so far. Over with the orc, I have an orange and a yellow. And the orc didn't get any successes, so that's not looking too good. And the dwarf is the same thing, so let's go ahead and maybe we'll have some better luck with this set. And I got 1 more, so it's a total of 3 successes. So let's go ahead and see what happens with that. So I'm going to look around, I'm going to plug those 3 successes in and find out what happens with this. So it's difficult to find traces of anything in the undergrowth, especially as the light is fading from the horizon. However, among the plants, you can distinguish a faint metallic gleam that briefly catches your eye. As you approach to investigate, you see the broken tip of a crossbow bolt, but not the taut rope that you just stepped on. The snap of the trap echoes throughout the woods as the bolts come streaking at you. Not good. So each character must take an agility check and have 2 successes. Each character that fails receives a wound. All right, so agility over here with the elf, he gets this one he has an expertise in, so he gets to count all of the shaded symbols as successes, but he did extremely well at 4, so no issues there. The orc has a orange and a yellow, and he only got 1 success, so he's going to take a wound. And over to the dwarf as well, who has 2 yellows. So dwarf is even less agile and didn't get any successes. So unfortunately, both the orc and the dwarf take a wound for that. All right, so then we're on to the next. So just then you hear a revolting sound of gurgling coupled with something breaking the surface of a nearby pool of stagnant water. You stare in astonishment as corrupted bodies crawl out of the muck and turn their empty, haunted eyes toward you. You have no idea what these things are now, but it is clear they were once human. The rotted, molting flesh is split apart, revealing bone and muscle. Their heads are no longer attached to their bodies, but they are held in place by a thick black mass, unlike anything you've seen in your life. The same black rot runs through the corpse's insides as if it were an animated pulsing spine which keeps them on their feet. With a terrible throating growl, the creatures stumble towards you. Deploy 1 unit of husks which is going to be gold in space D of 101. So with this one, once you get through this, you are able to also check in the enemy area to determine, make sure that you have the right number. But with this one, it's going to be 2 enemies in that group. And I'll go ahead and grab their card, and it's going to be the gold enemies. So that is going to be the non-colored group. So first off, first one is going to go in D, and then the next one goes in one of the spaces adjacent to D. So I'll go ahead and place that one there. And I'll grab its token. So that'll be the first enemy token, which is going to be placed in initiative 4. So on our initiative clock, initiative 4 is there. And then the next one, deploy 1 unit of Husks. This is going to be black into space C on 101. So space C is here. So these 2 Husks are going to have a black circle underneath them to differentiate the groups. So first one is there. And the second one, I'll put adjacent to him. And I'll grab the second card for the Husks. And again, these guys are also going to go on initiative 4. All right, so let's see if there's anything else. And that is it. All right, so we are into round 1, and that was all part of setup. So as you can see here, I clicked on that panel there, and that opened up my enemies. So I have the 2 units of Husks, and if you click on their names, it's going to bring up the number of Husks that are in each one of those units. So I have 2 in each one of those for a total of 4. And normally when combat starts, you're going to advance the round, but my understanding of this is because this is all part of setup, that you haven't actually moved into your turn yet, so I believe that this first one you wouldn't have that happen. The last thing I need to do is place my characters on the initiative track as well here. So my elf has an initiative of 3, so I will go ahead and place him. I'm not going to hold off on him because my dwarf here has initiative 5, but with the company 17, it says at the start of combat, you can place your initiative token on position 3 of the initiative track. So I'm going to go ahead and place the dwarf first, and I'll place the elf on top, and then the orc is initiative 4, so he's going to go on top of those enemies in that pile. All right, so from there, it's going to move into combat itself. So first off, the initiative track is going to start on 1, and it's going to make its way around. With each spot that it stops in, you're going to handle all of the different enemies and characters that are in that spot. So there's nothing in 1, so I'll advance to 2, again nothing, and now I'm into 3. So with 3, I'm going to go ahead and move into my elf's turn. So first off, during a character's turn, if there are no enemies around it or adjacent to it, it gets a free move or free movement points that it can use throughout its turn, which is going to be equal to its movement value of 3. So I can move up to 3 spaces as a non-action. Now, if I need more movement points, I can get those as well by spending an action, which I'm going to do by placing these different cubes into the different action slots. And when each one of these slots has a little copper bar around it, and it's going to have the different things that it's going to activate. So with these, I must place a number of cubes in there up to that value on the number of spaces that are circled with the bar. So for example, this top one would take all 3 cubes. The next 2 take 2 cubes, and the last 2 can take 1 cube. So if I choose one of the middle ones and one of the end ones, I could actually take a couple of different actions, which could be 2 attack actions or an attack and another move action. It's up to me, and there's a number of different choices I can make with that. So with the elf, I'm going to go ahead and start off. I definitely want to make a couple of ranged attacks, I think, here. So I'm going to go ahead and do my free move. So I'm going to move into the dwarf space and then move over. And I am going to go ahead and take a shot on this guy here. So he is going to be the second Husk in group 2. And as far as how I want to do this, the last 3 all increase my initiative or make me move forward on the initiative track 1. I don't know if I want to do that just yet. But I could do that as well. Might not be a bad start. So I'm going to go ahead and go at the bottom here. And I'm going to go ahead and do 1. That's going to increase my initiative by 1. So I'll move my marker forward 1 space. And I'm going to go ahead and do I'm going to place all of them in here. So the next one is going to allow me to upgrade my attack dice. And the last one is going to have me placing a targeting token out. And with that, it's the ability on here. It says to place one of the hunter's mark on an enemy within range of 2 to 5. You need to have line of sight. So I do have line of sight to this guy, so I'm going to go ahead and place it on him. And with aim, it says that I may reroll one, or that's his ability. With aim, it does give me that extra switch that I could potentially activate depending upon how I roll here. All right, so with my bow, that is what I'm going to attack with, and my bow gives me an orange and a yellow die. Then I would also check on the enemy and determine if the enemy has any defensive dice that it's going to roll, and I roll all of those at the same time. So the Husks are very squishy. They do not have any defensive dice, so I'm simply going to roll my attack dice and count up the number of symbols on it that I get. All right, so let's go ahead and give these a roll. And I got one success on this one. And this one, I only got a switch symbol, but I could choose to reroll it, so I think I will. I'm going to go ahead and give that a reroll. And each die can only be rerolled up to one time, no matter the number of reroll attempts that you get. All right, so I got a luckier, or I got a better result, so I got one extra star, so that's going to be 2 successes, and I got 1 exclamation point that I'm going to spend on the switch for the bow, which gives me a 3rd success. So I've done 3 damage to that guy. So again, I'll come over to the screen, select the second group and the second Husk to bring up his panel, and click on this 3 times to give him 3 wounds. All right, so that is pretty much all my actions at this point. I can't do anything else. So I am going to go ahead and end my turn there. So at the end of my turn, I'm going to advance my token a number of spaces based on my initiative, which is 3. So 1, 2, 3. So you almost thought I was going to get to go again there, but not the case. I go a little bit later in the round now. All right, so next is going to be the dwarf. And with the dwarf, she has a really interesting ability, which says that with her armor, your response rolls gain switch that your shaded or outlined shields are going to count as regular shields for the roll. And then also the adjacent characters can upgrade their response rolls, which is important. So that'll give them a little bit better defense. So I definitely want to keep the dwarf kind of centralized around things and be able to take advantage of that. So at least with the characters that I think are going to get hit the most. So I'm going to go ahead and move with the dwarf first, and I'm going to go ahead and plop right in there. Or I could... Actually, I think I'm going to go diagonal first and then move right here, as my orc is going to get to go next, so I'll be able to move up with my orc and hopefully be able to start doing some damage on those guys. All right, so then next with my dwarf, I have some choices to make here, and I think I'm going to go with his standard. So my favorite ability with him is this middle row, so it's going to decrease his initiative by 1, so he moves it back 1. Then with the sword, it says until your next activation, you can substitute hollow symbols on your attack and response rolls for normal symbols. So that's going to make him even better with all his dice, or her dice. And then the final one is taunt, which lets me place a taunt token out, which I definitely want to do. So I'm going to place that on this other haunt over here, or husk. And with that, first off, I can place a taunted token on an enemy in range 1 to 5, and I do need line of sight, so I have that. And with that, taunted enemies must downgrade all of their attack rolls. So that's going to make their attack rolls a little weaker, which is going to be helpful. Or that particular one, at least. All right, so then I get to do my attack. So my axe isn't super good. It has 2 yellow. And it does have a switch that if I spend 2 exclamation points, it adds another success. So let's see how I do with this. All right, so I got 1 hollow, but because of the sword, it does count as a complete one. So that's going to be 1 success, and I do have the 2 exclamation points to activate that. So I'm going to do 2 damage, and I'm targeting this guy here. So he's going to be the first group of husks, and he's going to be the second husk in that group. All right, so he's got 2 damage on him now. All right, and then my dwarf is going to advance 5 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and that will finish off his turn. So now I'm going to cycle to the next group and make my way through that. So the orc is up next. So with that one, I am going to go ahead and move forward so that I can get into contact with these guys. And I'm going to go ahead and attack. So with the orc, I am going to go ahead and do... I want to do a bunch of damage if I can. So I'm going to go with this middle one here. Lets me upgrade a die, and it gives me a rage token. And I'm going to hold on to this last one for now. So that's going to let me attack. I get 2 orange normally, but because I got the upgrade symbol, according to this, it says that I may upgrade 1 die from my roll. So that lets me exchange an orange for a higher level die, which is a red die. And again, the enemies do not have any defense, so I'm not rolling anything for the enemies. So then let's go ahead and roll. And I got 2, just straight up 2 successes. All right, so that is going to be 2 wounds, and I'm again targeting this guy that's already wounded. It'd be great to be able to maybe take him down. And then with that last die, I'm going to go ahead and place that one here, which is going to take away a rage token. But it does let me attack again, and this time I'm just rolling the 2 orange, so I just need 1 success here. And I got 2 switches. So I can spend those. One gives me 1 success, which is all I needed. And the other one I could spend to my target receives the bleeding status. So I don't have to worry about that at this point. So the 1 is enough to eliminate the enemy. So again, I'll go back here and hit that final wound. And it says, have you defeated this enemy? Yes, I have. So that enemy is gone, and I'm going to receive bone fragments for that. And that's not a card. It's something that's going to be stored on the app itself, so you don't have to worry about tracking those, which is kind of cool. All right, so then that husk is going to be removed from the board. And that is all I can do for my orc's turn. So he's going to advance 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm into the first group of enemies. So this is going to be the black group of husks. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of them, doesn't matter which one. And then I'm going to go down here to behavior. So this is going to tell me how they're going to react. So first off, it's going to be based on distance. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this guy first, as he's the first husk. And he is going to target the highest health basically at distance 1. So the dwarf is within range of him. So he's just going to go ahead and target the dwarf. And with his attack, he is going to be rolling an orange, and he gets an auto success. And then if he gets a hollow success, the target receives the slowed state. So with that, now with the taunted, that is going to downgrade his die, and so he's going to be rolling a yellow die instead. And on top of that, now the dwarf is going to get to roll her defense. So she gets 1 black die for her basic defense. And then she also has some dwarven armor on, which is going to give her a blue and another black die. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this all a roll. And I'm looking for those shield symbols. So I got the 1 shield that's going to cancel the 1 auto success, and then the husk rolled 2 exclamation points, but has no switch abilities that it can activate or use those points on, so I don't have to worry about that. And also the dwarf does not have any switches to activate using those dice. So that will take care of that. So that was successful there. And then this guy is going to go next. So he is a little bit farther away. He is 2 to 3. So closest range, he's going to assault, which basically means he just auto moves to a position that will put him adjacent to that character. And then he's going to go ahead and attack as well. So this one does not have taunts. So I'm just going to it's going to roll the orange instead. And I get my 3 defensive dice. And it got 1 success. And I got 2 hollow shields, but again, my armor counts those as successes, so I have 2 successes to his 2 successes, 1 on the die and 1 as the bonus symbol on his card. So again, it was a wash, and so I don't take any damage there, so my dwarf, the dwarf's armor is holding steady. All right, that's good. All right, so then it's over to this guy last, so he's going to attack the orc over there. And so the orc is going to get his defense, which is 2 black dice. But because, again, he is adjacent to the dwarf, he gets to upgrade one of those dice to a higher level die, so I'm going to get that. And the enemy is going to be rolling this. So hopefully that will help a little bit here. All right, so the enemy unfortunately has 2 successes to my 1 success. And again, my leather does not have any bonus or any switches on it, so I'm going to take another wound for that. And my orc does have a special, the ability on the orc is that every time an enemy inflicts 2 or more damage, I ignore 1 point of that damage. So that's good. All right, so that is all of the enemies. So I forgot to advance this first group. So they're going to advance 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the second group as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so then the initiative is going to advance to 5, 6, and then 7, where the next character is. All right, so it's going to be back to my dwarf now. So I get to clear all my tokens. And then I'm going to get to take my turn again. So, I mean, that's so effective with the taunt. I am going to go ahead and just do that full set again. So first off, I move my dwarf back, and then all of my hollow symbols are going to count for successes, and I'm going to get to add another taunt symbol out there. So my dwarf's armor has been holding up pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and slap it on that guy over there. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my attack. So I'm going to have 2 yellow dice. And I'm going to go ahead and target this guy up here that doesn't have the taunt symbol on him, as he just does that bigger, or gets the better die. So I'm going to start doing some damage to him, hopefully. All right, so I got 1 success there, and this converts to a straight up exclamation. So I got my 2 there. So I'm going to do 2 damage to the other guy. So this is going to be this guy here. No, wait a minute. Actually, it's the one that I had already hit a couple times. So it'll be this guy here that defeats him. That's fantastic. All right, so that'll take him out. All right, and that will give him, the archer, back his token, and I'll remove that base from that guy. All right, so now it's down to just the 1 guy and 1 guy. All right, so my dwarf is going to advance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's over to the archer next. All right, so with my archer, I really want to be able to do some damage here. All right, so I'm going to move forward 1 space. That way then I have line of sight to this guy. Normally the characters would block line of sight, but with my dwarf, because she's short, where is that at? She does not block line of sight. So I'm able to shoot past her and hit this guy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do... I'm going to go ahead and do this first one here. Let's go there and here. So that lets me, increases my initiative by 1. And it also lets me upgrade a die. So I'm going to be rolling a yellow and a red instead. And I got 1 success, and I do get to re-roll something. I can re-roll 1 die with my bow. So I could possibly do that. This one does have a couple of 2-star symbols on it. So I'm going to go ahead and risk it. I'm going to go ahead and try to roll the red again. And I still got 1 success. That's okay. All right, so with the switch, I'm going to activate the bow's ability, which is going to give me 2 wounds on that guy. So that is the Husk 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it again. So I'm going to advance again. And this time I don't get the red, I'll get the orange. And I got, okay. All right, so I got 3 successes, or 3 symbols. Unfortunately, I don't have the aim marker on there. Otherwise, that would have been great. But I do have the reroll. So I'm going to go ahead and reroll that yellow and hope that I get another star for a success. Yes, I did. Awesome. So that's going to give me 2 successes, and I'll activate the switch on the bow for an additional success, and that is 3 damage on this guy, which is going to take care of him. So it's down to just the 1 enemy left. So this guy comes off, and I'll get this token back. All right, and then the elf is going to advance 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and then it is over to them. So first off, the gold guys have been eliminated, so I'll go ahead and remove that token. And then it's over to the black husks that are going to attack the dwarf. Again, you're going to downgrade that die, so he's going to be rolling a yellow, and I get my 3 defense. All right, he did not get a success there, so it's just the 1, and that does convert up due to my armor, so no damage there. So that works out. And he's going to advance 1, 2, 3, 4, and I should advance that. And then it's the orc that's going to go next. So again, I'll clear my spots. The orc is going to go ahead and move 1, 2 to get in there and hopefully hit this guy. All right, so I need some rage first. Probably not going to be able to take him down before the round ends. So I could try, though. If I do good enough, I might be able to pull this off. All right, so I do get a rage token, and I get to upgrade one of my dice. So again, I'll be rolling the orange and the red. All right, and I did get the hollow symbol, which unfortunately doesn't help me. So I'm doing 2 damage this time. All right, and the second attack, I'll just go ahead and do this one again. I have to spend the rage token, and that is going to have me rolling the 2 orange. I need 2. All right, so I just do 2 damage to him. All right, so he's down to 1 wound left. And then I'm going to advance my marker. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that is going to make it to this 10 spot, so that is going to end the round. So I'm going to come up here and hold this button down to advance to round 2. And now it is the dwarf's turn, so I just have to do 1 more attack. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this one again, because that's been pretty effective. I just need 1 wound on him. And I got it. So I got 1 success there, plus the 2 addition, or the 1 that I can activate with the axe. So that's going to take him out, as he only had 1 hit point left. I gave him 2. All right, so that's going to take care of that guy. So I'll remove that husk there. I get my token back. And that is going to end combat, which also is going to advance the round marker. All right, so now it is back into our turns. We get our tokens back as well. And now that it's not combat, I get to choose as the players how we want to activate. So we can activate in any order that we want to. It's totally up to us how we want to do this. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send the orc up here. I want to have him take a look at this. So I can move anywhere. I can move anywhere on my current tile or an adjacent tile. And then I can spend my action to activate that initiative or the interaction token up there. So there are some kind of flowery bushes. They may be possible to identify what kind of plants they are in order to use them to your advantage. All right, so this is an interaction token. It asks me if I want to interact with this marker. Yes, I do. All right, you rummage through the bushes for something that might be useful. The forest is treacherous, but it is also a great source for raw materials. If you identify any plants, you will be able to use them when you return to Hawthorne Point. All right, so this is going to be a perception check. And my orc's perception is an orange and a yellow. So let's see if what I get here. All right, so 2 successes, not too bad. Hopefully that'll be enough to get something. And you identify some flowers that will be useful as ingredients. So you've obtained Yoro. Remove the interaction token. All right. So that will take care of that. All right, so from there, then I'm going to go ahead and move down here with my our dwarf, and I'm going to hold there, and then my elf, I'm going to move down and land on this interaction or exploration token. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It says that it looks like there's something odd over in the overcropping rock or outcropping rocks. All right, so do I want to interact with this marker? Yes, I do. The darkness closes in, but a bright shaft of light between the rocks on the opposite side of the stagnant water draws your attention. As you approach, you find an entrance to a grotto with a lantern illuminating its walls. Cold air and humanity greet you, but a foul odor of the grotto assaults your olfactory senses. A chill runs down your spine at the thought that there are more of the reanimated corpses may lurk here. All right, so place an interaction token as indicated. Okay. Remove the exploration token. All right, so that one comes off. And that is it. All right, so that was all 3 characters. Well, so the exploration token, that's not an action. It was just by moving onto it or stopping my movement on there. So I can do an interaction with my elf still, as I am adjacent to that. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so this path does not inspire confidence at all. Do you want to interact with this marker? Yes, I do. You advance through the twisting corridor carved into the rock with the lights of the rusty lamps just barely illuminating the way. However, your encounter in the woods puts you on edge, and you cannot shake the feeling of something watching you. All right, so this is going to be a perception check to enter the passage. So my perception is going to be 2 oranges and a yellow. So come on. Let's get some good stuff here. All right, so I got just 1 success, unfortunately. That's not that great. And I have no way of converting up from there, so 1 is we'll see what happens here. All right, despite being careful, you hear the distant clicking noise as you lift your foot. The terrible realization that then strikes you that you have just activated a cleverly camouflaged button that was hidden among the stones. Behind you, a rusty portcullis plummets from the ceiling, smashing into place and locking you in the grotto. At the far end of the grotto, though, an opening you haven't noticed until now, a mass of rotten flesh, creaking bones, and nasty black rot that slowly joins and then separates into various humanoid forms, drops to the ground. The vile creatures raise their weapons with malice intent and lunge towards you. Oh boy. All right, so I have 402 that I'm going to be placing out. So with that one, I'll go ahead and drop that on in there. Okay. Place your character on space D. So my elf went in there. Deploy husks. So white husks are going to be deployed. And they're going to be on spaces A and C. So there's C and A. And there's their card. And then the white husks are, again, initiative 4. Remove the interaction token. And place the special interaction marker as indicated. So there's going to be a door there, or that big old portcullis that fell. Place an exploration marker, which is going to be under this guy. Okay. All right, and then it is combat. So again, I'm going to be placing my guys out. So the orc will go there. And I got my other two. I think I'll go with the elf first, and then my guy there. So starting into combat, it's going to advance the round marker. So we're into round 4. And then I move into my player turns. All right, so my elf is up first. And what do I want to do here? Well, it would probably be good to drop a targeting marker. I'm going to go ahead and slide on up here into the corner. And let's see. Yeah, because next turn then I could potentially do that. So let's go ahead and start off here. So this is going to advance my marker 1, unfortunately. And then I do get to place a targeting token down. So I'll place it on that guy there. And then I do get an attack. So it's an orange and yellow. All right. So I got 2 successes. Or 1 success and the 2 that I can activate that. And there is a targeting token down as well. So I could potentially, do I push my luck? That is the question, because I could get 3 successes out of this if I get 1 more symbol. Oh, that's tempting. Why not? Let's go ahead and give it a go. All right, so I just got the 1 success this time, so didn't lose anything, but that's not too bad. So I get 2 wounds on him, and that's going to be Husk 2. All right, and then I'll do this one here to advance me 1 more space, and I get to attack again. All right, 2 successes again. I don't think at this point it would probably be worth rolling anything else. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and try. So if I get all right, so that one did not pay off this time, but I still get the 1 damage on him. So, all right, can't win them all. All right, so that is going to be my elf. He's going to advance 3 more, 1, 2, 3. So he's up there. And now it is over to my dwarf, who really needs to get into that room. So I need to get up there and do an interaction. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move into that space first. And I will go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and do that for now to try and see if I can get through this. All right, so I'm going to get 2 orange and a red, I believe, because I believe this is going to be a strength check. The portcullis has fallen, blocking any further progress, and it seems it will take a Herculean effect to lift it. All right, do you want to interact? Yes, I do. Let's see if we can get this. Access to the grotto is blocked by a portcullis, but enough strength, it could be lifted and the entrance open. A companion may assist you in this test. Unfortunately, there isn't a companion next to me. All right, so let's see if I can lift this portcullis. Come on. All right, so I've gotten 2 successes, and the other 2 all get converted, but I don't get any rerolls, unfortunately. So let's see if 2 is enough. Gathering all your strength you muster, you manage to lift the portcullis, and it strikes the ceiling with a resounding clank. Remove the special interaction marker, so that's good. Okay. And then I can continue. All right, so that was my first action. All right. I would love to get in there and help him, but at this point, I don't think that's going to happen. But I am adjacent to him at least, so my armor is going to help him out a little bit there. So hopefully he can hold on. I could advance one. And then this one says I can displace a taunted enemy. I have not been able to taunt an enemy yet. And unfortunately, at this point, I don't have the ability to do so. Well, I could do this bottom one there, but that is going to advance me one on the initiative track, just to taunt. But that could be really helpful. I think so. So let's do that one down there. So that lets me add a taunt token. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to this guy here. And that advances me one, and then I advance 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then it's over to the orc. So I am going to move. 1, 2, 3 is a free move action. And then I do not have a rage token, so I couldn't do one of the bottom actions. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one up here, so it lets me displace myself, so I can move one space. And then I'm going to use that as a move action, so I'm going to move again. So 1, 2, 3. Well, hold on. 1, 2. Yeah, I should probably stop there. And then I get a rage token, so I could attack him. At this point, though, I think it's probably better just to hold there. And I think I'm just gonna hold, and that'll give me a rage token for next time. There's not a lot else I can do at this point, so I think that is good. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so then the enemies are going to activate. This is gonna probably hurt. So let's go ahead and start with this guy. So again, neither one of them are adjacent. So they are close. So they're going to closest range. So this guy's going to move up, and that'll get him right in line with the orc. So he's going to go ahead and attack. And he is taunted, so he's going to downgrade. So he's going to get that yellow die. And the orc is going to get the 2 black. One gets converted to a blue instead because of the dwarf. But I do have the rage token now as well, which says that I can substitute 1 die for a yellow die. So I could potentially do a little bit of damage here if I wanted to. That is pretty risky though, as I'm really banking on that, hoping that he doesn't roll a success on here, and hoping that the blue comes up as a defensive success. And there's also only a few successes on here. It's 3 out of 8. So odds are not necessarily in my favor. I think I'm just going to hold for right now. Let's not push it too far and see how this goes. All right, so I do get the success that I need. He does not get the success on the die, which is great news, which means no damage at all on that one. And then this guy's going to move up. And again, it's closest range, so they're equal distance at this point. So I think I am going to take it on the ranger, though. So I do have a blue die with the ranger and a black die with that. This guy is rolling an orange. I get to upgrade a die, so I'm going to upgrade a die to green. All right, so let's see how this goes. All right, it was a wash all around. So I do take 1 wound because of the 1 auto success from the enemy. So even with the green die, that was literally almost the only face. There's 6 sides with a shield, and I happened to roll the one that didn't have it. Oh, well. So that is going to be their turn. So they're going to advance 4 spaces. 2, 3, 4, which means that they get to go again. All right, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that again with the one guy on the elf. So hopefully I'll be able to keep him in the background. So if he... Okay, so again, he's going to take a wound because I didn't roll a success on that. But with my lucky acorn, when an attacking enemy rolls its dice and before switch step, rotate this card to reroll 1 die from the enemy's roll. So maybe I'll get lucky on this second one. Nope. Still same thing. All right, so 1 damage to my elf. All right, so he's up to 2. And then the other enemy downgrades, and then I get this. Okay. So my target, because it's a hollowed success, would receive slowed, but because of my rage token, I am immune to slowed, so that was fantastic there. And I do have the 1 to block his incoming damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that was super helpful. And then it's back over to my turn. So my orc is going to be the first one to go. So how do I want to do this? I really need another one, another rage. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one that lets me upgrade a die, do a rage. So that gets that. And I think that'll be it for that. So I'm going to go ahead and attack. So I'm going to get to upgrade 1. So I'm going to roll a orange and a red. And it's 2 successes with no other effects. So that is the one that is not wounded yet. All right, and then as my second action, I'm going to go ahead and spend one of those rages and do a move action. So a move action lets me move 3 spaces. I can move through enemies. It just costs me an extra movement point. So I'm going to go ahead and plop on the other side there. And that's his turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's my elf's turn. Okay, the elf is right there. So I'm going to have to move. All right, so how do I want to do this? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do... I could have gotten the 2. But that guy, the one that's got the mark on him, was the one that was further back. So he's got 3 on him, so I just need to do 2 damage to him. So I have to move first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now that's me move. So it's 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this one here. So this lets me re-roll my attack, and I can displace once, so that at least gets me out of range so that I can actually attack him, because I have to be at least 2 spaces away with the bow. So now I can actually shoot him. And I do get to reset that, so that's good. And I got a success here and 2 there. So that gives me the 2 that I need. So that's all I needed to do. Okay, so that guy's gone. All right, now I get my thing back there. Okay. And that's all I can do. So 1, 2, and 3. And then 4 because I forgot to advance him on that one. All right, so then it's over to my dwarf to finish off this round. All right, what do I want to do here? All right, so that guy's got that on him already. So I gotta close the distance. So I get a free move action with him because I wasn't adjacent to enemies. And then that ability just works so well. So that does move him back one. And I am going to get my dice here. I just need to do some good damage here. Alright, so I've got the one success because of that. And then I get an extra success for spending those 2 symbols. So I did 2 to him. Nope, I forgot to click that. There we go. Alright, so he's got 2 on him. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and do that one there, which lets me displace a taunted enemy if I wanted to, but I don't really think I need to, so I'm just going to go ahead and attack him again. Alright, and I got the 2 successes I needed. I just needed 1, so that is going to take him out, which gets me some more bone fragments. And that ends combat, so that is going to advance the round marker again, which worked out. I saved myself a round because it was going to kick over after that anyway, so I would have lost another round if I would have not been able to get him with my dwarf. So that helped out there. All right. So now it goes into our turns. So the orc, just going to go ahead and move that and move this up because I got a feeling we're going to be getting some more stuff here. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and explore here as there's that token there, exploration token. So the hallway snakes deep down into the ground. And I do want to do that. All right, as you pass through an opening in the wall, an underground chamber opens before you. It has signs of recent activity, remains of a bonfire, and a plethora of various footprints on the ground. The air is pungent with the distinct smells of oil, blood, and smoke. Off in the background, you see a closed door. To one side of the chamber, you see a cell carved into the rock with a grimy, rust-covered bars. Something stirs inside the cell. A haggard-looking dwarf sits up on a pallet and gasps at the sight of you. He begins to sob hysterically as he tightly latches onto the bars and then turns to you. He manages to keep his tone hushed as if he fears someone else hearing his sobs. Thank the ancestors. Get me out of here, please. For mercy's sake, I don't want my fate to be as the others. I beg you, free me now. All right, so I'm going to be placing out a new tile. So this is 104. So tile 104, and it is going to be, the statue is down here, so this is going to orientate this. All right, and then I have an interaction token. I have an interaction token on the fire. And an interaction token over there. And a door over here. All right, and I remove the exploration marker. Okay. All right, so I have some stuff to do in here. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to move my elf in here, and I want to check that fire out. Let's see what's going on with that. It is the remains of a bonfire. Among the smoldering embers, there appears to be something of interest, but be careful taking it. You could burn your fingers. All right, do you want to interact with this marker? Sure. Among the remains of the fire, which was recently been rekindled, the sandy earth has taken on a different color here, reddish and bright. This could be useful, but you have to be careful not to burn yourself. All right, carefully take the sand It's an agility check. And my elf is very good at agility, so that's fantastic. Let's see what happens here. I get one of each. And come on, something good. And I got 2 successes. So hopefully that will be enough. You succeed in carefully taking the sand without burning yourself. You obtained red sand. Remove the interaction marker. All right, so that takes care of my elf's turn, so I'll flip his marker over. Next, there's a stone statue there, and I wonder if my dwarf would be good at that. So let's go ahead and send my dwarf in there. I'll place him there. Let's go ahead and check that out. At the foot of the statue, some herbs have grown that could be harvested, but it is not as simple to remove them. All right, do you want to interact with this marker? I do. Some bushes have grown over the base of the statue. Notice a sprout of sun nuts, but they are also completely obscured by the bush. With a daft hand, it seems possible that you could pull them out. All right, so this is agility as well. My dwarf, not so agile. So let's see what happens here. He got 1 success. Probably not enough, but let's see. You obtain the sun nettle. Remove the interaction marker. All right. Nice job. Okay, so that is going to be the dwarf's turn, so it's just the orc left. So let's go and talk to the dwarf and find out what's up with that. There is a rather upset dwarf locked in the cell. His morose sobs tell you that speaking to him will require some tact. Okay. Do you want to interact? Yes, I do. By the light of your lantern, it is clear to see that he is dressed in the Mount Haven uniform. Recognizing the emblem of the company of expeditioners, it seems you have found part of the company at last. Who is playing their turn? That's my orc. Okay. All right, so it's a charisma test. And my orc's charisma, they're all the same. They're all yellow, so it doesn't really matter. So I might as well go ahead and give it a go and see what happens here. Nothing. Oh boy. Okay, so that's not going to go well. You try your best to reassure the dwarf with your words, but he is beside himself with desperation. It takes hold of him and his eyes are lost, as if he is peering right through you. Doom. I'm doomed. I've doomed them all, and now I'm doomed, he fearfully whispers. I handed them over. I betrayed them. I killed them. And in exchange for what? For what? Tears fill his widened eyes, and his mouth twists in horror. His voice rises to a howl as he grips the bars of his cell while shaking them violently. A menacing glare sweeps over his facade. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. It doesn't appear that you'll be able to converse with him in his current state of mind. Updated objectives. So I have to free him. I don't know if I want to do that. He seems kind of sketchy, this guy. He killed his company or something. So, all right, that is all of the characters. So at this point, I advance to round 6. I do have that door over there. So I'm going to send the elf over there. He's closest, so let's go ahead and send him over there and find out what's going on with this. All right, so it's a closed door. It appears jammed, but not so easy to open. Let's go and interact. As you approach the door, you're greeted by a gut-churning mix of odors. Oil, smoke, and burned meat, and blood. Voices can be heard on the other side, but you cannot discern what they're saying. Okay, so I have a choice here. I could do an agility check to pick the lock. I can do a strength check to kick the door down, or I can do a perception check to listen closely at the door. Well, my perception is actually pretty good. So is my agility, so I could pick the lock as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do a perception check. So that's going to get me an orange or 2 orange and a yellow. All right, so let's see how my perception is today. I got 3 successes, so pretty good. All right, so the check is, you attempt to hear as much as you can. There's a conversation taking place between at least 2 people. I don't understand why Master Samira insists on trying to revive all of these dwarfs. Nothing happened with the first 3. Why would it be any different with the others? Now, somehow, it's our job to get rid of these stinking fat bodies. It's so much better when they just walk out of here on their own 2 feet. His partner clicks his tongue dismissively, growling, "Shut your stupid yap, you. Just you worry about cleaning up this mess, or maybe it'll be you on this cart next." Zara told me that Master Samira doesn't need any more bodies anyways. Okay, well, that's interesting. All right, and I would prefer to pick the lock, and my other 2 characters are not great at that. So I'm going to kind of burn another turn, but let's go ahead and see if we can talk to this dwarf again. There is a rather upset dwarf. Okay, so let's go ahead and give him another try here. See if it makes any difference. By the light of your lantern, it is clear to see that the... Okay, so I already know that. All right, let's try it again. Okay, well, I guess I'm not doing anything. I wonder if it makes any difference with the other characters. So I could move the dwarf up there. See if that makes any difference here. I don't have anything else to do, so see if it makes any difference with the dwarf. Ask about company 17. Okay, let's do it. Aggressively, you slam your fist into the bars, causing the startled dwarf to recoil. You question him about company 17 and about your companions, and although he doesn't understand your rationale very well, he replies that yes, he knew them. As anxiety grips his chest, you ask if they were also betrayed and if he had something to do with their disappearance. At first, you don't realize that you're yelling at him and that you're especially accusing him of handing over Company 17 as well. I did no such thing, he defends himself, although he keeps his distance. I didn't. I barely knew them. It was the voices, that being said, he curls up into a fetal position on the pallet, completely shutting down. You won't be able to get anything more out of him for a while. Okay. All right, so I got a little more information out of him, but that's it. All right, so it is into round 7. All right, so let's go ahead and try to pick this lock. Okay. And I'm going to try to pick the lock with an agility check. My agility is even better at a red. All right, so I got 3 successes again, so that's good. That red almost came up with 2. I was feeling really lucky there for a second. Okay, the room you enter appears to be a chapel with an altar in the background on which candles, books, and other objects that you cannot make out are resting. The repulsive smell of burning meat permeates the air here. With their backs to you, shady figures busy themselves with the removal of bloody corpses scattered all over the floor. They do not notice you as you open the door. The pair whirl around, completely taken by a surprise. It seems they are human, but they are dressed with an incredibly strange outfit. Their faces are covered with crude horned masks, and on their shoulders they wear a cape with severed arms sewn together. They appear as monsters in this rather ghoulish costume, but before they have time to react, you bark commands at your teammates to strike. Okay, so this is going to have me placing the tile 109. Okay, so I can go ahead and take this one away, and that one I think at this point, so slide this up, and that's probably going to go away as well, as indicated. Yep, taking that marker away. And place the interaction marker as indicated. So I'm going to be placing one out. So that's going to go up here. Place a special interaction. Okay, we got a chest over there. That's going to go all the way down here in the corner. An exploration token. All right, so deploy one unit of inact in space and space C of 109. All right, these are going to go. Okay, so they're going to go here, and there. Deploy one inact leader. Okay, so let me pull out these guys first. All right, so the regular guys, and these guys are the black ones, so they're going to be there, and I need their tokens. So there's that guy. They're going to be on 3, and then I have a leader who is going to be the gold. He's also on 3, and he's going to be placed on space A of 109. Space A. Oh man, he's right there in front of me. Okay. Place an event marker 1 into position 8. Yep, I think this was, yep, into position 8. All right, that's gonna go there. And place the character's initiative tokens in position 1 of the initiative tracker. Oh, sweet. So all of our guys are going to go there. So I have to choose the order of how I want to do this. I probably should get my elf out of the way here. So I think I'll have him go first. And then the dwarf, and then the orc. All right. So with that being said, all right, we're into this phase, so that's going to start round 8. All right. And that leader is right in my grill house here, so all right, so how do I want to do this? What's this leader look like? He has an auto defense and he rolls a black die. And he also gets to retaliate. He gets to add a yellow to the response roll if the attacker is adjacent. So my archer is going to be great for this. Got to keep my distance though. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with, I'll advance 1 space. And I'm going to place a marker on him. So I've got the marker on him, and then the question is, I am adjacent, so I don't get my free move, so I might as well just use all of this, and that's the displace 2 spaces. So I'm going to go ahead and move back 2, and then I get to attack him, and it's just going to be the orange and yellow, and then he does get a black for his defense. And the defense doesn't come up with anything, and I do get a success, And I'm going to go ahead and re-roll this one. And it comes up the same. So unfortunately, I do 2 to him. He blocks 1, and for every 2 wounds or more wounds suffered, he ignores 1. So I was only going to do 1 to him basically anyways, because he was going to ignore 1 regardless after that. So I do hit him for 1 though. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So I don't have anything else I can do with my elf, so he's going to advance. 1, 2, 3. All right. Then it's my dwarf next, who gets a free move, 1, 2, 3 spaces. I'm going to go ahead and put him right on in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this whole thing here. It's going to move him back 1 space. And that gives me all of that. And I get to put my taunt marker on there and load this leader up. Hopefully that will pay off. And I get to attack him, so I'm rolling the 2 yellows. He's getting a black. And that auto. And it does down... Well, he's not attacking right now, so that's all right. All right, so he does have the shadow one. But that doesn't help him at all. So he does have the 1 defense. And both of my hollow symbols count. So I do 1 damage, and this gives me a 2nd damage, so that gets me past the armor at least, so I am going to hit him for 1 more. So that's a good start. And that's everything there, so then I'm going to advance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then after that, then my orc is going to get to go, so I clear those. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I am adjacent to him. It might not be bad to drop that vulnerable on there. So this one, it says the target of your action is given a vulnerable state. And the vulnerable state is enemies. The enemy removes 1 shield for each of their rolls. At the end of their activation, remove this state. So that actually would be pretty good. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'll just go ahead and go across the board. I'm going to get a rage token. And I do get 2 orange dice. And I'm going to add that vulnerable state to him. So now he's at -1 for as long as that's on there. And I get 1 success and a bonus. So the 1 is, oh, he does get to roll his defense. So let's see if he gets anything. All right, so he does not. He does have the 1 auto, but the vulnerable cracks that. So I do the 1 damage, and the exclamation point, I could do a 2nd, but then he's going to reduce it down to 1. So I'm going to add a bleed status effect instead. And that will help with that. Ooh, I forgot to add his token. Or wait, no, I did. That's just an extra enemy. Okay, so I get to hit him again. And that is my turn with my orc as well. So then I advance. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's going to get to go again. All right, so then it's going to go to the enemies to go. So it's going to start off with the leader to go. So now he gets to go. So he's going to go, he's distance 1. He's going after the lowest initiative, which is going to be the orc, as he can target him. And his action is he's going to block line 1. So line 1 on my orc is here. And then he attacks, and he's going to push him 1 space. So on his attack, first off, he is going to be rolling a orange and a red. He adds an auto shield to that, and if he gets a hollow exclamation point, then he adds 1 damage to the roll. All right. And then my orc is going to get his defense, which gets to be upgraded because of the dwarf. So I get those. And then I do downgrade his attack because of the taunt, so he's rolling 2 orange instead. I don't know if that's really going to make a huge difference, but we'll see. All right, so I did get 1 defense, and he has the hollow, which he did not roll, so he's going to add 1 there. So he's just doing 1 damage, and I do block that. Awesome, and then he does push me back 1 space. So I do have to slide back 1 space. All right, and that is his turn. And then it's over to the other enact. All right, so they are way more than 1 space away. They're more than 3 spaces away, I think. Let's see, this guy is 1, 2, 3. No, he is actually 3 spaces away, so he could move and assault. So he's going to hit the dwarf, and he's rolling an orange, a black, and he gets an auto success. Whew, these guys are brutal. All right, so I get those 2 as well. And since he's rolling a black, I probably should roll these separately. All right, so I only got 1 success out of this. So dwarf is probably going to take a hit here. And he got 1 success plus the 1 there, so I do take 1 damage. Luckily, he did not roll the hollow symbol. And the other guy is going to do pretty much the same thing. He's going to go right on up here and hit me as well. So this guy is just those, but he does have the 1 auto success, so I can still need to kind of block this. All right, so I do, because I got the 2 shields that are hollow, but my dwarf's armor converts those to successes. All right, that is the 2 enemies, so they're going to advance. Luckily, they're both initiative 3, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, they would have been initiative 2, otherwise, if they would have only been able to move. So that worked out. Okay. So then this is going to advance. All right, now my orc is up next. So the vulnerable state does go away because he activated, and the blood I think also goes away, but it also does a damage to him. So bleeding, at the end of its activation, the enemy suffers a wound, and then I remove this state. Yep. So he is going to, the leader is going to take another wound, so he's down to 4 wounds. So I might be able to defeat him here. That'd be fantastic. And the vulnerable comes off as well. So that clears those, and it's my orc's turn first. So what do I want to do here? All right. Be great to get that vulnerable state on him again, or I could punch through some of that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this bottom one here. So this gives me an exclamation symbol to use on switches. It does take a rage away. And I get my 2 orange. And I could actually, so with my bone pendant, when you attack with your weapon, you may spend rage tokens to upgrade the rolls of your weapon as many times as tokens spent. So I could spend the 1 here to bump one of these up to red. I think that would be good. And then I do give him that vulnerable state again. So again, I'm going to be cracking his armor. And let's see what happens here. Oh, I do have to move up. So I am adjacent, so he is going to get to roll that yellow. So he might actually end up doing some damage to me. With him rolling that, I think I do get to roll my defense though. So I'm going to be rolling that. So first off, my defense, not so good. All right, and he didn't get anything either. And all right, so he does roll 1. I don't think I have any way of re-rolling anything either. All right, so I do have the 3. Oh, and okay, so this might work out. All right, so he is going to, I do break the 1, but he has 1 here, so he's going to soak 1 of these, which leaves me with 2. I do get to convert 1 to another success, though, so that bumps me back up to 3 at this point. And I get the other 1 that I'm going to add the bleeding status effect onto him. So and he downgrades 1, because if I do 2 or more wounds, he decreases that by 1, but I still get 2 in there. Oof. That was a big one. That definitely helped. All right, so he is almost gone here. All right, and there's nothing else I can do with my orc, so I'm going to advance. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my dwarf is up next. So he's got 2 wounds left on him. Is there a chance here I could get lucky and take him out? I think I really should try. So I'm going to go back, and then I get to count those hollow symbols as successes. I am adjacent, so he's going to get to roll his black and yellow. So let's go ahead and handle those real quick. All right, so it's just all exclamation points, so that doesn't do anything for him. And I got 1 and 1, so I do need a second one to be able to add the additional value. He does have 1 defense, which is cracked with his defense, so I ended up doing 1. So that actually worked out. That's all I needed to really do anyways. And let's go ahead and do him again. So I can choose to displace him, which I don't really want to do. So let's see if he gets anything. He got a hollow shield, which doesn't help him. And he's going to do a hit to me. So I might roll my defense, but let me see what happens with him real quick. And I got 1 as well. So I'm going to do 1 damage, 2 damage. He reduces by 1. And my defense, I block his offense with that. And I do 1 extra damage. All right, you have defeated this enemy. Yes, I have. You obtain a gold coin. A lifeless body of the inact leader collapses to the ground. The rest of the inact flee in terror as they witness their leader fall. You stare for a moment at the rusty symbol hanging off his chest, never having seen anything like it. You decide to grab it and take it back to Hawthorne Point, as it possibly can be identified there. All right, the Pale Breach Woods rusty symbol. Okay, so I have a milestone. If it is still in the interact tracker, remove event token 1. It is. So that's gone. And I think the other enemies flee, didn't they? Remove all enemy miniatures that remain in the scenario. Whew, that was fortunate that I was able to take him out pretty quickly, so that those other guys didn't get to go, or I didn't have to deal with them. That was great. Okay, so that's his and his. All right, and that's all of my guys. So this all comes off. Okay, and you obtain torn cloth. Torn cloth. That's going to advance the round to round 9. And then it's back to us. So, let's see. Well, my dwarf, I'm going to go check out that chest. Let's see what's going on there. It is a musty, time-worn trunk that seems easy to open. Yes, I want to interact with this. There is a small locked chest next to the wall, but it doesn't look particularly sturdy. All right, so it's an agility check. My agility of the dwarf is not good. But I got one success, so let's see if that's enough. The chest opens with ease. It is. You obtain Ural. I got a second one. And remove the interaction token. Okay. Alright, so that takes care of my dwarf's turn. Let's send the elf up here to the altar. At the far end of the room sits a dilapidated altar. It may be possible to classify some of the jars on it. I will. Up against one of the walls of the underground chapel there is an altar. Candles cover the stone surface and there are symbols of unknown language scribbled on the surface. Almost hidden among some of the random books at the back of the altar is a bottle filled with a sparkling liquid that catches your eye. Alright, so this is an intelligence check. Intelligence is the books, which the dwarf actually is the best in this, but let's see if the elf can pull this off. I got one success. Come on, let that be enough. You are not able to determine what it is, so it's best to leave it. Remove the interaction token. Oh, man. Oh, well. That wasn't good enough. All right, and then let's go ahead and check this out. So I'll move him down there. There's almost most intriguing shiny object hanging on the wall. A bunch of keys hang on the wall. Surely one of them will open the cell where the dwarf is imprisoned. You obtained a bunch of keys. Remove the exploration marker. Okay, so that takes care of that. All right, so that is everybody's turn. So on to round 10. All right, well, let's send the orc up there and find out what's going on with this. There's a rather, okay, we already know some of that. Okay. All right, he still has all that. And let's just open the door. Remove the interaction token. After trying a couple of keys, you finally find the one that opens a cell, and Vastril rushes out, thanking you profusely in a broken voice. He stares at your expectant group, then suddenly frowns and flattens himself against the wall, as if defending himself against an attack that has yet to come. Don't you dare judge me. You would have done the same. No one is all good, no one. Those voices, Master Zamora, I keep wondering if they were telling me the truth. My companions, I didn't want to be killed. And I won't be, no. He ramages through his robes quickly, producing a gold coin, which he offers to you with trembling hands. If you let me go, I'll make it up to you. I can't. I won't go back. I have contracts, people in the slums who would be grateful, very grateful to you if you let me go. Take this, take it for yourselves. You glance at each other for a moment, not knowing exactly what to do. Giving him up would have its advantages for sure, but the descendants of the slums wield a good amount of power in Hawthorne Point. You shouldn't rule out the possibility of improving your relationship with them if you can. So I have the choice. I can let the dwarf go and return to Hawthorne Point, or turn the dwarf into Mount Haven. Well, I always align with the good, so let's go ahead and turn him in. It's the end of the scenario. You agree that Vastril is a traitor and therefore is up to the dwarves of Mount Haven to pass judgment on him with his misdeeds. Upon hearing that he is going to return to Hawthorne Point, the dwarf makes a half-hearted attempt to escape, but you foil his sad attempt almost immediately. Along the way, between whimpers and occasional screams, Vastril sprouts a litany of nonsensical things that don't immediately make sense, but you try to associate them with things you experienced in the cave. The sight of the dead bodies, both those of servants and of the so-called Master Samora, and previously reanimated corpses, only awakens more questions in your mind. Most notably, this is Master Samora is the one behind the disappearance of the dwarves, and more than likely many other groups of adventurers who don't make it home to Hawthorne Point. Furthermore, they are responsible for turning Vastril into madness and betrayal. You do not know this, Samora, yet, but you know that it would be unwise to take them lightly. And it is clear that they command dark and incomprehensible forces. But at Hawthorne Point, you turn Vastril over to the ambassador Thorismil while explaining to her what happens. She clenches her fists and her eyes flash with anger as she glowers at the traitorous dwarf, ordering her guards to get him out of her sight and toss him in a place where he won't be seen for some time. She thanks you briefly but sincerely and assures you that she will not forget your service to Mount Haven. Bringing Vastril back will help them find out a good deal more about the sad fate of Company 21. And she confesses that her main priority now is to recover the bodies of those deceased dwarfs. You could use a spot of rest after an adventure, so you say goodbye to the ambassador and go outside. With the memories of the mission still fresh in your mind, you cannot help but wonder if the appearance of these new monsters is somehow connected to the suspicious activity of the mists and now surround this forest. All right. Increase your affinity with Mount Haven by 1 point. Hawthorne Point phase. Okay, so now we're in town. The game was saved, so I could exit at this point or continue on. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. All right, so there's a number of locations here. Each location has different benefits. So, and they give you a little synopsis of each location as well. So I am going to, let's go ahead and storehouses, barracks. Well, let's send my dwarf to the barracks. And my dwarf, or the blacksmith. Send the elf to the barracks. Maybe do some training. Send the dwarf to the temple. All right, let's continue. All right, so we have Anja Meyer. Sweltering smithy assaults your nose with the assortment of aromas. Metal, burned wood, leather, and the sweet sweat create a dense miasma that floats inside the establishment. The blows of hammer, rhythmic and constant, are intertwined with the hiss of glowing metal hitting the water. There are several people hard at work here, but you know from the bartender Hawthorne Point that the one in charge is Master Meyer, originally from Hedgemary. One of the apprentices points you in the direction of the master blacksmith. All right, so I'm not going to read through all of this. There's a lot here. Now let's see what we got here. So we have some consumables possibly. That's shaded out, so I can't choose that, but I can choose to upgrade some attributes. So perception is the only option. So my orc has a perception. Okay. So I'll go ahead and upgrade that. Okay. And then I get consumables. Oh, that's still blocked out. All right. And there are markers for that I can place out. But at this point, so let's go ahead and go on. So Hawthorne Point guard barracks surround a training yard. In front of the pillbox is bustling with activity. Although the soldiers from different nations are still seen, no one nation can have regimented troops in the city since the armistice. All right, so let's just go ahead and get through some of this. I'll let you guys discover what all this is. Oh, I get to upgrade attributes again, so it's strength or agility. My agility is really good. So yeah, let's go ahead and upgrade some strength here. All right, and then finally, I am at the temple. All right. So I'm just going to kind of breeze through some of that. All right, so I have a bunch of choices here. I could cleanse stain. I don't have any of that. That's mainly for spellcasters. I could upgrade some attributes, and I get some consumables. So willpower is my only option. How is my dwarf's willpower? Actually pretty good. So I could well, let's go ahead and do it. And get consumables. I do have red sand, and I have that, so I can get a red moon elixir. I don't know if I have 2 coins. Don't look like it. I think I just have 1. Okay, I have 1 coin. I do have those 2, so I could trade that for this red moon elixir, which I don't know what that does. Why not? 1 moon elixir. I wonder if that's a actual card. Okay, and that is the only thing, right? Oh, I do have some other stuff. So there's a red moon and a blue moon. Bone fragments and Jarl. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. I think these are in here. Let's take a look here. These are all gear, so that's probably not it. So let's go ahead and check. Maybe this one? Okay, there we go. So Red Moon Elixir, you can gain the focus state, discard this card, and then you can discard this card to remove a state you or an adjacent character have. Okay, pretty good. I was kind of hoping that was a healing potion, but not so much. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to continue. So this is the harbor. All right, so now we have encounters. So the harbor, the next to one of the warehouses, a few sailors seem to be taking a break under the sweltering midday sun. One of them, an elf with ebony skin and a mysterious smile, holds a tambourine with which she shakes the rhythm while singing. Her companions join the song's refrain, which is catchy and oft-repeated. You stay to listen together with the small crowd that gathered, and after a third chorus, you think you've gotten it down. All right, so it's a charisma check. I could join the singing. My charisma is pretty crappy across the board. Why not? Let's go ahead and give it a go, though. And I got 2 successes. All right, so I guess I'm feeling a little singy today. Maybe. Not only do you hit every note perfectly, you even accompany your voice with a few claps and snaps to the infectious beat. Sailors, surprised and amused, invite you to come closer, and you finish the song together with a flourish. Between some celebratory whistles and giggles, the dusky-skinned elf shakes your hand and coyly winks at you. You've earned this, friend. Today, the Devil Company buys the drinks. You obtained a gold coin. Wow. Okay. Next, I have the Yell Tree Square. You are resting in the midday sun when an old man and a child enters the square hand in hand, looking at everything with a mixture of fear and respect. They approach you, and a man wearily asks you if you know someone who can help his little one with a health problem. The boy, who barely 5 years old, lifts up his shirt and shows his swollen belly. His veins are darkened and his skin is almost black, as if smeared with ink. Then the stain begins to shift and swirl as if it were alive. The old man covers his belly and protectively takes him up in his arms. All right, so take the old man and his grandson to see the doctor, or take the old man and his grandson to see the alchemists. Stains is kind of a magical thing, so I'm going to try the alchemist. The alchemist's eyes widen when she sees the markings on the boy's belly, but breaks into a huge smile when he talks to her enthusiastically. She playfully tickles him as she grabs a small glass jar from the shelf and opens it in front of the boy. The little boy pops open with a small cloud of, or the bottle, not the boy, pops open with a small cloud of shiny pink dust, and when it comes into contact with the skin, the black swirling stains rapidly shrink until they almost completely disappear. The old man wipes away his joyful tears as he profusely thanks both you and the alchemist. She smiles and shares a shy wink at you. Yeah, we're humble folk in this neighborhood, but we always take care of one another. Get ready for the next scenario. Characters with 3 consequence cards. Okay, I don't have any of those. But this is getting ready for the next scenario, so I think that will end it. And I'm just going to go ahead and exit from here. Yes, I do want to save. Well, things were heating up and that story got pretty dark, but my heroes were able to make it through and get the dwarf back to the city and turn him in. So we'll see how that plays out and what kind of consequences there are in store for that and what he has to deal with potentially in the future. But I had a good time with the first mission and those heroes were pretty cool. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that I got wrong or if there's anything I could have done differently. I love hearing from you and starting a conversation. Also, let me know if there's anything else you want to see around this one, if you'd like to see a teaching video or other playthrough videos, or if you have any questions as well. I love hearing from you and starting a conversation down below. So until next time, I'll see you later.